Amid the ongoing retail apocalypse, major supermarket chain Aldi faces the threat of multiple store closings. As more and more brick-and-mortar retailers struggle to stay afloat in the age of e-commerce, Aldi is just the latest victim of a retail industry that is rapidly changing before our eyes. With the closures of several storefronts across the country looming, many are left wondering, what does the future hold for this once thriving grocery giant? Rising commodity prices are causing widespread industry disruption, and Aldi outlets are only one example of the problem. The food price index for last year hit a startling 10.4% annual increase. As a result, the average person has a more complicated, more challenging time earning money to survive as inflation rates rise to record highs. In addition, the U.S. Department of Agriculture projections for 2023 indicate the highest period of rising food prices in 40 years. We hate having to change our shopping plans because a store suddenly closes. Over 60 big retailers have declared bankruptcy in the previous 7 months, leading to the closure of thousands of stores. Unfortunately, many customers have seen their beloved stores close, and a fresh tidal wave of closures is already occurring. Your neighborhood hub may be permanently closing its doors this summer, as many retailers have recently announced shop closings. In addition, several supermarket businesses are also shutting their doors. Customers have been posting links to other shopping sites such as Aldi and Walmart on social media to express their sadness about the closure of their favorite discount supermarket. Customers were drawn to the business since it was rated the best value food store in December. Unfortunately, grocery costs are now around 12% higher than 12 months ago, as inflation drives them to all-time peaks. A study by researchers at the University of Illinois found that consumers are in an increasingly difficult position due to increased food prices. The survey results are disconcerting since they show that, on average, respondents had instituted different cost-cutting strategies to save money and make ends meet. Among these measures were switching to store brands with reduced prices, spending less at restaurants, and searching for cheaper grocery stores. Overall, low-priced products showed a 22.9% price increase, while supermarket private label items increased in price by 19.7%, as opposed to a 13.8% spike at other stores. Despite being typically cheaper than larger competitors, the research revealed that inexpensive stores had the highest number of price increases compared to the previous year. With a rise of 22.7%, Aldi takes first place. With few options left, businesses are shutting stores and cutting back on advertising to survive the tough times. Price hikes have been particularly damaging to retailers' bottom lines, as falling revenues have left them with few ways to offset the decline. As a result, they can't reduce rates for their clientele. In light of the store's closure, customers who were already skeptical of Aldi's affordability would now have to confront the additional obstacle of finding suitable replacements. Unfortunately, the skyrocketing high costs hit individuals with lower means most severely. As a result, a lot of them need to turn to going hungry or relying on government subsidies or food pantries. Although it has been reported that food costs are decreasing, the typical shopper who makes a trip to their local supermarket will discover that the prices are either holding steady or increasing at a crazy rate. The fear of ever-increasing food costs is becoming a reality for consumers, and there is little reason for hope. As per the recent findings shared by the U.S. Labor Department, the scourge of inflation has not spared the grocery industry, leading to increased operational expenses being passed on to the consumers. The latest sales reports reflect such a price rise, with cash-strapped Americans tightening their belts and cutting back on their expenditures. Unfortunately, suffering from inadequate finances, the average American has resorted to less spending, creating a vicious cycle for grocery moguls. As a result, these corporations resort to drastic measures, such as shedding thousands of employees and shutting down money-losing stores to cope with the unrest, as seen in the example of Aldi. Please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button if you are enjoying the video so far. The ongoing retail crisis has been particularly challenging for Aldi, as the company struggles to remain afloat in the current market conditions. To this end, the company has hinted that it may soon have to close down its stores in several key locations, such as Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, New York, Ohio, and South Carolina. Aldi's troubles have been compounded by multiple factors, as mentioned by a spokesperson for the company in Chicago, Illinois. The decision to close down was based on a combination of factors, including declining sales and repeated burglaries that have taken a toll on the company's bottom line. Despite the challenges faced by Aldi, it is still a beloved brand for its customers, who are highly disappointed to see the discount food store go dark. This disappointment is particularly felt given that the other stores in the surrounding areas are significantly more expensive, making Aldi a vital resource for many who rely on its affordable prices to feed their families. The upcoming 8% increase in all items is already being felt by grocery stores, making the cost of cooking at home comparable to or slightly higher than eating out. According to industry experts, the price of eggs is expected to increase by a whopping 37.8% this year, continuing their trend to become one of the most expensive products. The failure of Aldi and other supermarket chains serves as an acute example of the unstable economic situation in which American households find themselves. As grocery stores struggle to stay afloat in the face of steadily increasing costs, it's getting harder to ignore that a disaster impacting homes is on the verge of occurring. Sprouts, a supermarket chain that rose to prominence throughout the United States due to its particular products and competitive pricing, is shutting a number of its locations due to poor financial results, joining the ranks of competitors that include Aldi, Amazon, and Walmart. 11 retailers announced their permanent closure in February. The cuts will affect the states of Texas, California, Georgia, Florida, and Washington. An internal count of statements by major retailers in 2023 indicates that at least 1,405 locations are scheduled to shut down throughout the United States by this summer. Some businesses are going bankrupt, while others claim they need to reduce expenses to remain viable. The startling widespread closure of businesses was highlighted as a top news story about California and New York. Bed Bath & Beyond, Gap, and Party City are just some household companies that have announced closing stores. Due to rising costs and falling profits, many companies have resorted to drastic expense reductions. Constraints on the availability of credit have had a negative effect on the company's bottom line, and the possibility that failing banks would spread their woes to other industries has been a concern as well. Things seem worse than they ever have. Brands will undoubtedly lay off more workers as they close underperforming outlets and try to ride out the economic slump by focusing on their top performers. The closing of grocery shops has had a disproportionately negative impact on consumers, which is especially problematic in light of the continued high rate of inflation. After significant food retailers like Aldi had to cease operations in some locations, customers were left frustrated and seeking alternatives. The abrupt closure of numerous stores in several states, such as Pennsylvania, Texas, and Minnesota, caused a wave of shock and distress among residents in those regions. Statistics on consumer spending reveal the grim reality of the current scenario, revealing that rising food prices have forced many Americans on tight budgets to reduce their food expenditures. Unfortunately, in order to prevent their sales from dropping further, supermarket chains have few options other than to lay off thousands of employees and close down locations that are not performing well. Jean-Pierre Dubé, a distinguished marketing professor at the renowned University of Chicago Booth School of Management, suggests that businesses consider cost changes as infrequent events, and thus they are very careful not to miss any chance to modify their prices. He explains that when businesses know that customers are willing to bear the increased costs, they are less inclined to slash their earnings by lowering their prices. This is because they understand that reducing their prices would directly impact their bottom line and profitability, which is something they cannot compromise on. With this in mind, modern-day businesses continuously seek to balance satisfying their customers' needs and maintaining their profitability levels, which has become increasingly challenging in today's fiercely competitive global marketplace. Overall, this whole scenario has put a strain on the entire country. Consumers are becoming increasingly concerned about the future of their finances and businesses alike, as the closures of major retailers have caused a ripple effect in multiple industries. As a result, impacted employees are confronted with an uncertain future as their employment options become increasingly limited. Considering these circumstances, it will be necessary to take a long-term approach to address the implications of this situation and to ensure that those affected are able to return to normalcy once the situation stabilizes. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment below, and watch this one as well.